It's now time to send you to the podium in the Troy Trojans.
A student athlete from each school on the main podium. Coaches will give an opening statement, and then we'll take questions for both the coach and the student athlete. We ask those of you here in the room, please silence your phones. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. And for those of you joining us on Zoom, please type in your question into the chat, and we will read it to the coaches and the student athletes. At this time, we welcome to the stage the Troy Trojans head coach Scott Cross and senior guard Aamer from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Coach, if you would, please start us off with an opening statement.
Sure, yeah, we're just super excited. What a great way to start the basketball season, to come down here in New Orleans with the rest of the coaches and players and be next to this guy who's been a phenomenal leader for us. And we can't wait to get started. I think this year is going to be a great year for the Sun Belt. I think it's going to be as even as any year that I've been a part of, from 1 through 14, just trying to pick the teams in the league and seed them. I couldn't do it, but I tried my best. But it's going to be a fun year for Sun Belt basketball, no doubt.
Thank you, Coach. At this time, we'll open it up for questions. Again, if you're in the room and have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Please give us your name and your affiliation before you ask your question. And for those of you joining us on Zoom, please type your question into the chat, and I'll read it to the coaches and the student athletes. And Coach, we've got a Zoom question here. 2 years ago, you had the second best KenPom defense rating in the Sun Belt. Last year, you had the #1 best defense according to KenPom. What made those teams so good defensively?
Obviously, the players just buying into what we're trying to do, the toughness, the competitiveness, the grit of each of those individual players, and then, just coming together and fighting to win basketball games. We knew probably there would be quite a few games where the other teams might have more talent than us, but defense is all I want to, and I think our guys did a great job just really, really working hard and actually taking pride in being one of the best defensive teams in the Sun Belt Conference.
And second part of that question, what is it going to take for you to replicate that type of defense again this season?
Sure, I think, this guy right here, Aamer, he showed signs last year of being a phenomenal defender. I think he's one of the physically strongest, most gifted athletes in the Sun Belt. And there were games, I can remember San Diego State, where watching him sit down and defend those guards who played for a national championship, and they couldn't go by him. He sat down and was a phenomenal on-the-ball defender. He's really, really locked in off the ball. Every single day he works at it to get better in practice. So he's going to be a big key if he can take that next step for us. And, if your guards are going to be really, really high-level defenders, you're going to have a chance. And so him and then his backcourt mate, Christian Eugene, who we call Spud, if he takes that next step, he has a capability of being a great defender as well. And then Jackson Fields, who's our third returning player, if he can make that next step and be the next Zay Williams for us, which we believe he can be, then I think we have a chance to replicate that success defensively again this year.
And a question similar to Aamer, what was it like working over the offseason on your game and being able to compete and be invited to Damian Lillard's Formula Zero camp?
It was a great offseason. It started in May. I don't think I took a day off during the summer. I made it my best to stay in Troy and work out. And getting invited to Dame's camp, it was a phenomenal experience, a real experience to get invited to something like that and get to go in there and see pros and pick their brains and be with other high-level guys around the nation. And in the off-season, just continue to work and get better at my craft and pick brains of Coach Cross and our defense and see what we need to get better at. So.
A follow-up to that same question. For somebody who's not familiar with the Formula Zero camp, can you describe the experience?
So the Formula Zero camp was, I think it was the second year of them doing this. It was, so the head guy who manages everything, his name's Phil Beckner. Phil Beckner is Damian Lillard's full-time trainer. He also trains a lot of guys around the NBA. They also have like a pro camp as well for the Formula Zero, but it was just 40. It was 40 altogether players, 20 college guys and 20 high school guys that they selected. So it was cool.
Coach, question for you here from Zoom. Jackson Fields had incredible efficiency from the field last season, shooting 50% from the field and 41% from three. How do you adjust to allow Fields to be higher volume shooter this season while maintaining that efficiency?
Yeah, I think, Jackson has the ability to shoot the three. We do play a 5-out style of offense. I think a big part of it will be Aamer and Spud being able to get the ball in the paint for easy drop-offs. I mean, he's a dynamic finisher because he's so athletic. He's got good strength. So as those guys, as the paint opens up and we move the defense and these guys are able to get in the paint, somebody has to stop those guys. If they don't, then he's able to drop it off and Jackson will be able to get a dunk. But Jackson also has the ability, if they don't guard him from the perimeter, he can shoot the three. And then he's very good at running the floor and getting easy buckets in transition as well.
Zoom question for Aamer. How did the journey at a Division II program in Lubbock Christian prepare you for the D1 level at Troy?
So at the Division II level, I spent 3 years there, and my third year we were ranked the #1 team in the nation. So playing along guys at that level and playing for an offensive-minded coach and Coach Duncan, he prepared me in a ways of learning how to move the ball and play basketball the right way. And I think coming here, we have to transition to more of a defensive-minded coach and Coach Cross. So I already had the IQ level of playing. And then once I got to the Division I level, you kind of try to put all the pieces together and now putting the offense and the defense together and then making it all work in a spectacular way.
Got a pair of questions here from John Johnson of the Dothan Eagle. For Aamer, how have the newcomers meshed with the returners on the team?
Right away, you can see the blend happening right in the summer. It's that first practice, and we just spent all of our time together this summer. The blend has just been amazing. It's none like no other. I've been a part of a lot of brotherhood type teams, but this one's it's more of a brotherhood than I've ever been a part of before. So, and with me and Spud being our only 2 seniors, you can kind of tell that they have this sense of urgency to play for us. And we appreciate that.
And then this question for Coach Cross, specifically locally, how have the 2 Dothan players progressed in Thomas Dowd and Cameron Mitchell?
Sure. Well, Cameron Mitchell, he's really improved a ton. He's a guy that's in there. We start typically at 7 o'clock. We kind of had like a pre-practice routine. Cam is one of those guys who's getting in there at 6:30 in the morning, as well as Thomas. Both those guys are early risers, and so they both work extremely hard. Cam's been one of our better defenders, super athletic, super intelligent, just a great piece to our basketball team. Thomas, I think, he actually played on my son's AAU team, so I saw him play many times last year. And he was a guy that just grew on me every single time I watched him. And so, but seeing him in practice every day, his growth has been as fast as anybody I've ever seen. He's either our best or second best rebounder. He crashes every single time. He's relentless. Just for a freshman, it's pretty spectacular to see what he's been able to do. He's so hungry to be great. And I think that hunger is what it takes, to really be a great player in this league.
Question for Coach on Zoom, and we're still on a defensive mindset here. Can you talk about your defensive boot camp, how that got started, and how it helps your team develop its identity?
Yeah, it started back in probably 2010, I think was the first time we did it. One of my good friends, actually, he was the assistant coach at Tyler Junior College back in my JUCO days as a player. Kyle Keller, who's the SFA coach, was on staff at Kansas. They did a similar type deal, but basically what it is, I mean, it's a week of 2-on-2 defensive drills without using a basketball. So we went an entire week and they didn't touch a basketball and they're just working defensively. And so it's conditioning, it's tough, it challenges them mentally, physically, it makes them do the little things. And I think they definitely grow closer from that experience. You know, we had a shirt we gave them that's ETS, and Embrace the Suck. So it's hard, it's going to be tough, just like every basketball game that you play in. It's going to be hard, it's going to be tough. You have to embrace the moment. You can't really pout about it, worry it's not going to change. So you just have to embrace those struggles and continue to get better.
Aamer, how was the defensive camp?
It was definitely tough, you know. The whole week, you know, you have to prepare your whole mind to just get ready to just be in the dog mentality the whole week, you know. And once you get to the end, man, it's like you get the shirts and you finally, like, it's over, and you get this sense of like, oh man, like we really went through that, and it makes us, it grows us together as a team, you know. We go through a week of defense, no basketball, like not too many teams out there doing something like that, so it makes us even more tough.